Hello and welcome to the Still Standing series. I'm your host, Coach Violet Coots, and I'm so happy to have my special guest, Patti Furlong, with me today. I'm a Christian life coach, equipping and empowering individuals to live in their true identity and be who God created them to be. I'd love for you to grab my free biblical affirmation cards so you can start renewing your mind today and finding that freedom. And if you're feeling stuck in any area of your life, schedule a free breakthrough session with me. The link will be in the show notes. Hello, Patti. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am doing well. It is cold outside, so I'm just trying to stay in and stay warm.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, So, Patty, just tell us a little bit about you, just a little your background, and then from there, tell us your story. Just share with us what God's laid on your heart today.
Okay, well, I'm married. Been married almost 24 years. Yes, 24 years this year. Have two little girls, 12-year age gap between the two. But they both came when God said it was time. It was his plan. So we don't question it. We just went with it. Growing up, I did not grow up in a house that went to church really. Um, we talked about God. I would go to a couple of different vacation Bible schools at local churches, just a couple things like that here and there. And then when I became a teenager, my parents got us involved in church and we went to church. And I was probably around 14, 15 when that happened. Met my husband at 16 and then we got married at 18.
Okay.
His grandfather was a preacher, so we would periodically go to his church, just here and there, but nothing consistent. And when we had our oldest daughter, when she was about 4, we decided we want to get involved in a church. We want our child to know about God, know about the Bible, and have eternal life as well.
Well,
So, excuse me. So we started going to Lakeview. We've been there to be 14 years this year since we've been going there, and we absolutely love it. Both of our girls are very involved. Me and my husband are very involved. I have to say, we're very blessed that a lot of times you have kids that are like, hey, I want to go to church. Can I stay home? Which we don't have to force our girls.
yeah.
They are excited to go. And that's something that I'm very thankful for and blessed for is for my children to want to go. So,
Yes.
because like if me or Justin are not well, or if we can't go for whatever reason, our oldest, she's 18, she can drive herself. She'll be like, hey, can I still go ahead and go? I was like, of course, we're not going to tell you no, don't go to church. So, I'm very thankful for that. And she's in college. She's a freshman this year. And to see that they have a class on Wednesday nights for her age group, and she's usually only one there. They don't have many college students that show up. And so for her to still want to go, being the only one in her age group, she still goes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but that's just a little bit about my background. As far as when I was saved around 16, I want to say. But when I got saved, I didn't feel saved. It was a thing that me and another teenager girl my age, we were in the pastor's office and we were talking, and he was asking some questions and he's like, well, then you're saved. And but I didn't have this like aha heart changing feeling or anything like that. It's when we started going to Lakeview and we'd been there for a couple of years and Pastor Dave Thomas was preaching at the time, and I've never felt called to go up to the altar. And I had this overwhelming, like it just gives me cold chills thinking about it. I had this overwhelming sensation. And I got pulled up to the altar, and I honestly believe that's when I got saved.
Gotcha.
Um, I had that. I know in my heart I need to change. I know why I'm here, why God has put me here, why I knew these things before, but I didn't know. So,
I went from head knowledge to heart knowledge.
exactly. Yes. Yes. And so, and I don't blame the other preacher at all. I
Right.
don't blame him at all, because he was great and he taught well and everything, but it just wasn't what I needed.
Right.
And we found what we needed at Lakeview. And like I say, we had been doing what I call church shopping. We just tried out a few different churches, and someone there had invited my husband, and he told me. And so I was like, well, it's not going to hurt to try. And that's just where we've been, and don't see ourselves going anywhere. Um, we love it. And like I say, my girls are involved with church, but I guess my biggest journey, my biggest testimony I can give you is overall I have been a very healthy person through my life. After I had my oldest daughter, about a year after I had her, I was having some weird episodes, is what I would call them, and it took about 4 years to find out it was seizures. Um, what was ironic is the year we started going to Lakeview is the year that we found out that it was seizures. And within a year of attending Lakeview, I became seizure free. So this month, I believe it'll be 13 years that I will be seizure free.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I had dealt with it for over almost 5 years, about 4.5 years, I guess, before we got answers and then got them to stop. But other than that, my health had been great. And then 2021 came along. Well, actually, December 2020, I went to a walk-in clinic because I had some lower back pain. And I'm like, what's going on? So the doctor did an x-ray. He came in, he's like, well, you've got kidney stones in your right kidney. And it's like, well, I know those are there, but is that going to keep me from being able to stand up straight? He's like, it kind of can, yes. He said, but right now, that's not my concern. I was like really confused, and I was like, okay. And he said, the x-ray cut just right that he could see calcium build up on one of my valves. He thought it was my mitral valve. So he said I needed to have an echo done. With insurance, they said I need to go to a cardiologist, have them look at everything, and then go from there. So that's what I did. I went to the cardiologist. They had an echo done. It was done in office. This was December of 2020 as well. And they said I would come back in January for a follow up. Well, the echo was done in the doctor's office. Just the doctor wasn't in there, just the tech. And she was asking these questions, and to me, it didn't seem like your typical questions. So I was like, okay, didn't say anything. She's like, well, do you have a follow-up? I said, well, I do in January, unless you see something, then they will want to see me sooner. Well, this was the Monday before Christmas of 2020. And so I was like, come in January unless you see something. She's like, let me go see if the doctor's here. So I was like, oh my goodness, my heart just drops. I'm scared. I send my husband a text and I'm like, she's gone to get the doctor. I'm really scared. He left work. He came up to the office with me, and they told me a little bit about what was going on, but they wanted me to do more testing in January to see how in depth everything was. What it was is, yes, I did have some calcium buildup on one of my valves, but it was my aortic valve. And that valve was a bicuspid valve. And what that means is usually that valve has three flaps that opens up when blood's flowing through. I was born with it only having two. And which it actually can be kind of common, and people never know it, live a normal, healthy, long life, and they're fine. I've always been a little bit on the heavy side. Um, if I go upstairs, like a flight of steps, I feel like my chest is just gonna rip open. My heart was just hurting, and I blamed my weight. Well,
Oh,
come to find out, it was my valve. So my valve was a bicuspid valve, calcified, deformed, and working too hard.
oh,
Um, they did a heart cath and what's called a TEE. You're put to sleep. They put like a camera down your throat to look at your heart. Everything else with my heart was perfectly fine. It was perfect, nothing else. It was just that valve. Um, and it is genetic. My brother actually has a mechanical aortic valve as well. So I immediately got my girls tested. As soon as I heard genetic, I got them tested. They are both perfectly fine, no issues with their heart.
mm,
So praise God for that. That was a big relief right there. Um, but because of the stuff going on, they told me I needed to have open heart surgery to have a mechanical valve put in. So they said it wasn't a major rush, but I didn't need to wait too long. But with my job, I had a week off in March. So I was like, can we wait till March? So that way I wouldn't interfere with my job too much at the time. And they was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Surgery went great. I think I was only there 3 or 4 nights, maybe. I can't remember for sure. But recovery was great. Yeah, of course, I had some pain, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. I think maybe I was had myself prepared that it was going to be terrible and then it not be as bad.
yeah.
So, got on the healing process of that. Well, one thing I forgot to mention, like I said, I'm a heavy girl. I had planned on doing weight loss surgery. And before I had went to the walk-in clinic, I had done two different um, in appointments with one appointment with two different doctors just to see, one local and one in Nashville, just to see,
Right.
something to think about. And it was a week later that I found this out.
Wow. Wow.
And it was a God thing because I honest to goodness believe that if I had not went to the walk-in clinic and all this found out, it would not have been found. They do a heart workup on you, but they don't do it to where they would have found this stuff out.
Right.
And I don't think I would have survived the surgery.
Right.
So again, I think it was a God thing. It was just so
Right.
um got that taken care of. Everything was going good. And then in the summer, a few months later, I started my urine, I started peeing blood. And it got
Oh,
to the point it looked like fruit punch. It was just almost pure blood. And I went to just a regular urologist, and he couldn't find anything. And I was like, he thought with me being, because I have to be on a blood thinner for the rest of my life, he thought with those kidney stones and those blood thinners, that's what it was. But I had been on the blood thinners since March. And it's not going to just start all of a sudden and continuously get worse.
right.
So I was getting scared because I knew that this was not normal.
Right.
I went, someone told me I needed to get into a nephrologist. My primary care doctor told me that. So I was trying to get into one at Vanderbilt. In the meantime, I went to my 6 month checkup with my surgery after my surgery. And this was on a Thursday. Um, she was telling me my heart was looking great. Everything was looking good. But then she got to looking at my kidney numbers. She was not very happy with those numbers. They were not very good. And she's like, you need to see a nephrologist. And then that's when I started explaining that stuff to her. Well, she pulls her personal cell phone out And she text messages. She's like, "Do you care who it is?" I said, "Not really." I said, "At this point, I need to get answers." So she pulls her cell phone out, personally text messages a nephrologist that is a friend of hers that's local, and told her what was going on. And that nephrologist said she needs to be in our office tomorrow.
Wow.
And so they was like, "Do you care to see the new doctor?" In my mind, I'm like, but then I'm like, I don't care. I feel like God has brought this doctor for a reason.
Right.
And I was like, I don't care. I need answers. I just feel like things are getting worse. And so they said, "Okay, be in our office at this time tomorrow." I said, "Okay." So I went to the doctor. He looked at all my numbers, and I found out what he was thinking, I have a kidney disease, but he wanted to do a kidney biopsy. Well, with me being on the blood thinner that I'm on, it's not as simple as just any regular person going in for a biopsy. I have a
Right.
really big risk of bleeding.
Yep.
So I was admitted to the hospital that night, and I believe it was on Monday because I had to be on a bridge of a different kind of blood thinner through
Right.
IV. And Monday, I had the biopsy done. And then after the biopsy, I was there for a couple more nights after they got my INR back onto my warfarin and my INR where it needed to be. So I was in there for almost a week. And this was a lot of time away from my girls. And
Yeah.
COVID was going on, was second year into COVID, and I was just missing. And my girls couldn't come up there; they weren't allowed up there, so I was having to video them. But anyways, come to find out, I have what's called IgA neuropathy. It's a kidney disease, and I was in stage 3. Um, he started me out on an aggressive medicine that's like a chemo medicine, and he started me on that. Well, also during the summer, I had to have a female operation because procedure done because I was very heavy with the blood thinners. Well, that didn't help. And between November and December, I had to have 3 blood transfusions because we didn't know why. So finally my OBG was like, "You need let's do a hysterectomy." So in December, I had a hysterectomy. Um and that helped with that, but my numbers were not getting better for blood transfusions. I actually had to have another one. And come to find out, it was the medicine that I was put on for my kidney. So he took me off that medicine and then put me on another medicine. And once I came off that medicine, it got out of my system. I did not need any more blood transfusions. All of that was great. Um, I think all in all, in 2021, I was put to sleep because of everything 6 times for tests, procedures, this, and this. 6 times, I believe it was. Had a lot of hair loss. Um, but the whole time, I knew it was in God's plan. Whatever it might be, it was in God's plan. He had a plan for all of this. I didn't question it. I didn't doubt him. Yes, it was hard being away from my girls. But we had a major support group with our family, our friends, our church family. And then early 2022, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Is that right? 2022. Let me see. We're 2024. No, it was the end of 2021 as well. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis because at the time I worked in the school system. and I loved my job. I was a special ed aide. It was my dream job. I was getting to work in the school system, be off when my girls were going to be out of school. I was actually at the school my daughter was going, my oldest was going to. And my doctors, before they knew what I did, they told me that I did not need to be working around children or somewhere with a lot of germs because of the autoimmune disorders, because the kidney was an autoimmune disorder as well. So I had applied for different jobs, and I have my job now. And I've been there 3 years as of last month. Absolutely love it. It's the perfect job for me. I do get to work from home. It is with a hospital, but I work from home and I'm never around patients. I still get to get my daughter on the youngest one on the bus, off the bus, off work by the time she gets off. So all that I think everything laid out the way it did is so I could have this perfect job, this perfect layout of everything for my family. Um, yes, I did enjoy working with the kids, and I try to keep up with them. I'm actually going to go see Neville. I reached out to mom, and I was like, "Hey, I miss him, so I'm going to go see him one day." Um, so I feel like everything has happened for a reason. Um, I may never know the reasoning why, and I don't have to know why. I just know it's been because of him, everything has happened. I'm not going to question him. Was I scared at times? Yeah, I was scared, but I never lost faith. I never lost sight of him. I always try to keep, especially for my girls, I always try to keep a smile on and stay positive and let them know, hey, it's all in God's hands. All we can do is pray about it. Um, I, like I said, I was in stage 3 with my kidney after going through the medicine and everything. Um, I am what's called in sort of kind of remission with my kidney. My numbers are perfect now. I don't have to take any sort of medicine for my kidneys now. I just have to go for checkups every so often. They do blood work. Um, so if I go to one doctor and they do blood work and it has the numbers for my kidney, I look at it and I'm like, okay, my numbers are still good there. So you learn about a lot of different what these numbers and mean and stuff when it, you don't want to learn, but you learn.
Right, right.
Um, but now I have had some stuff going on lately, just where I'm tired and fatigued a lot lately. We're trying to figure that out. I've had actually had my heart checked out. My heart's still great. They did a stress test and an echo. Yeah, and some EKGs, and those have been fine. So my heart's good. Just trying to figure out why I'm tired. But other than that, since 2021, my health has been semi-normal, back to normal. But that's pretty much my journey as far as my walk with Christ and staying on the positive, I guess you could say.
Right, right. Well, and you know, just listening to your journey, and of course, you and I know, and that we go to church together. So I've been there, through this, and just refresh some of the. I knew this stuff as you was going through them, but as time goes by, it's like you forget different things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was catching is just that peace of God, and
Mm-hmm.
just that, nope, he's got it. And so, he's faithful, and it's in his hands. And, and just that peace of God, I think, and that's a huge thing. And and that's a big testimony to me when because this is the way it should be. I mean, I feel like, when we
Mm-hmm.
know that, okay, he's God, he's got a plan, and then we submit to that plan, whether we understand it or not, and we know we can trust him. And so that's, that's beautiful. That is just a beautiful testament to
Well,
that, and
thank you.
to your walk with him and everything. So I do like to ask my guests, if there's, some people will talk about a life verse, or, a verse during different seasons, and not everybody has, a specific verse, but, was there any verses, or has there been any verses kind of throughout your journey that you've kind of been the one or so that you've clung to, or, that comes more to mind than the others?
I've never ever really had a one verse particular that I stick with or anything. Anything with faith. My biggest thing is faith over fear. No matter how little or how big, my faith was always bigger than that fear, because nothing is too big for him.
Right.
And I know that if I go to him and he's going to be there for me, then whatever happens, happens. So faith is my biggest thing. And like I say, faith over fear. Excuse me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so let me ask you this. This is another thing I like to ask, but knowing what you know now that you're on this side and all the things that you've come through and everything, just kind of looking back, what would either be an encouragement or something that you might want to tell somebody who is going through, the hard times, who's going through, because you were like back to back to back,
Mm-hmm.
within that couple of year period,
Mm-hmm.
just one thing, and not just little things, major things,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but going back to back, so that person maybe who's in that right now, and they're going through that really hard right now, what words of wisdom or what words of encouragement would you, offer them?
Keep your eyes on God. Keep pray to him. Keep that faith. Focus on him. And I'm not the type of person who likes to be center of attention. And if somebody's like, "Can I pray over you?" To me, I'm like, I love that they want to do that, but at the same time, I'm like, let them do it. It helps you. It helps you keep your faith. It helps you keep your focus, but don't give up. Don't give up. Keep fighting. And whatever happens is going to happen. But he's in control. Nothing you do really is going to change it. You just have to keep faith in him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. And I can't remember exactly where the verse is, but there is a verse in the Bible that says, without faith, it's impossible to please him. And so when
Mhm.
we hold our faith and, keep that faith in him, we know that we are pleasing him. And
Mhm.
so that is good. Um, I appreciate you taking time today, Patty, and being with us and sharing your story and being encouragement. Because, like I said, I know that, whoever hears this, whether it's here just as soon as it comes out, if it's down years down the road, but it's going to be an encouragement. And we all know, sometimes I feel like, and this is, the enemy likes to isolate us and things, and sometimes we can get to that point. It's like nobody understands, or nobody else is going through, everybody else's life is fine and it's just me. And that's one thing I like about being able to do this, it's people giving their testimonies, because it says no, everybody has something. We all walk through something from time to time, and some of it's more major than the others and things. But just being there to give that encouragement, and to say, I've gone through hard, you've gone through hard as well, and that person is not alone. Um, then I think that in itself is a huge thing. But I do thank you for being here. I do want to remind, I always like to remind our listeners at the end of Isaiah 43:2, and that says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you." And so that's, again, that's telling us that things will happen, but he, as you said, he's got us. I'd also like to remind everyone, if you're listening to this, if it's been an encouragement to you, then feel free to leave a comment, like and share. If you haven't subscribed, then please subscribe to the channel. And if you're feeling stuck or if you're needing some encouragement, then please feel free to reach out to me, and get on my calendar. I would love to talk with you and come along beside you and help you in your journey. And so until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.